Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all here. Welcome. We're going to be talking about attracting clients by design. I'm Dr. Karen Curry Parker. And as we're logging in, because sometimes it takes a little bit for everybody to log in on Google Chrome, take a moment, if you will, and just look at the top of your screen. You'll see a little bubble that says chat. Just pop a little message for us in the chat and say hello and tell us where you are. Tell us, I don't know, give me some information so I know how to greet you properly. So I'm looking forward to spending. Hi from Spain, Kinga. Hello from Netherlands, or I can't say that. Aurelia, Ontario. That would probably. Oh, the next one is even worse. Saanich, British Columbia. Okay, I'm just gonna go for Walla Walla, Washington, Germany, Virginia, Ontario, Pittsburgh, Sweden, Harrisburg, Minnesota. Hey, is it snowing there yet? In Minnesota, we're about to get the same snow. Bavaria, the Netherlands. Uh, Not yet. Okay, good. Keep the snow away. Hello, Phoenix. Hello, California. Hello, Sun Valley, Idaho. Guanajuato, Mexico. Hello, I've been there before. Hello, Connecticut. Uh, you guys can have all the snow you want. I'll send snow and then some. We had like 70-degree temperatures and now it's going to snow. It's been all over the place. Hello, Argentina. Hello, Madrid. Hello, Arkansas. Hello, London. Hello, New Zealand. I will be in London. I'm going to be in London in a week and a half. So I'm going to be teaching in Glastonbury on April the 7th or 5th, April the 5th. So hello, Toronto. Hello, South Africa. Hello, North Carolina. Boy, we're just like from all over the place today. So I am so excited to see you all today. I've got a presentation that I've prepared for you. If you don't know me, my name is Dr. Karen Curry Parker. I have been a student and a teacher. I always think I've been teaching human design, really officially teaching it for 25 years. I'll say I've been a student of human design for 25 years. I'm still a student of human design. I will always be a student of human design. And I'm excited to share a little bit about rethinking human design. And we're going to be talking about human design in business. So I'll give you just a little bit of background around me and business. I am technically, and some of you may be this way, I'm technically unemployable. That means that I'm not good at having a job. I'm a manifesting generator. I don't take orders very well. I was raised in a family. My dad was actually first he was a spy, literally, and then he became an entrepreneur. My mom has also always been his partner, not so much in the spy business, but in the business that he was in. So I was raised by entrepreneurs. It's in my blood. I think that makes me definitely not employable in many, many ways. And I love business. I love business. And I love sharing with human design people how to do well in business because you deserve to, because the world needs you. And you can't do the work that you love and serve the world at your highest level if your business isn't profitable and sustainable. Those are two really important words. Okay. I'm not just talking about profit because profit is huge, but it's not the only thing. You can make a lot of profit and totally burn yourself out. And I think one of the beautiful things that human design gives us is it teaches us how to be profitable and sustainable. And that's really important because if you can't sustain yourself in your business, you can't be profitable. And if your profit is the only thing that's driving you, you probably aren't. I mean, I will say in the community that I've had the privilege of teaching in, and that's all of you, I think that most of us, if not all of us, are not driven only by money. We're driven by purpose and passion and a desire to make the world a better place. And that's a beautiful thing, but you need to make a profit to do that sustainably, and you have to be able to leverage yourself in a way that makes sense. And of course, human design is a beautiful tool for that. So, a couple of other things to talk about today. You're going to see me post a lot of slides about charts. And so, if you are not familiar with the way that I teach human design, I will tell you that I teach human design. August and Gita, sorry, hang on a second. I'm getting a couple of messages that they can't see me. Never mind, you're on it. So when we talk about the chart and when I'm referencing parts of the chart, I want you to recognize that when I teach human design, the way that I teach it, as I said, I teach that we all have all of the chart, just like you have all of the human genome in your cells, right? But you're not expressing every single variation. Your chart is just like that human genome. You have all of the DNA of the human story in your human design chart. Openness doesn't mean you don't have it. Openness means you experience that energy in a variety of different ways, right? And definition means you have a consistent or a fixed way of expressing something. So I am not sure if you all can see me. Hopefully you can. If you cannot, I'm going to be sharing slides with you in just a minute. So let's review that for just a minute. Openness doesn't mean you don't have it. So if you have something white on your chart, okay, if you have something white on your chart, it doesn't mean you don't have that. It means you have variability in how you experience that. Okay, so you don't not have it, you have it, you have variability in it. And ultimately, that's what you're part of what you're here to learn about over the story of your life. Anything that you have that's colored in, defined, is something that you're actually here to give the world, right? You're here to give the world that energy. That's part of your soul curriculum. And there are core themes that you're going to be playing with and exploring and expanding on over the arc, again, of your human story. So we all have all the chart. So as I talk about the chart, I'm going to be sharing with you some things about the design of business through the lens of human design. And I'm going to be sharing with you some strategic and important things that you need to know in order for you to be able to build a business, start attracting clients so you can build a business that is profitable. And I'm going to share with you a couple of things to think about in terms of sustainability. Now, because we have a lot of people here today and we're in a webinar format, what I'm going to also ask you to do, if you look at the top part of your dashboard, if you go up to that dashboard, you'll see that next to the chat button, there's a Q&A button, right? So please make sure if you have a question, post it in that Q&A. Please don't post it in the chat because it'll get lost and then I won't be able to answer your question, and your questions are really important to me. So post your questions in the Q&A and sit back, relax, take a deep breath. My intention today is to give you some really important information to help you really think about how you could continue to grow your business, your practice, and to use your human design and human design as a vehicle to help you create impact, profit, share your message with the world, and be sustainable. All right. Hang on a second. Hold on a second. I have a lot of buttons to push. Okay. And in theory, Gitas, can you just confirm for me that they're showing? And are they moving?
Awesome. Yes.
Yay.
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
We see all slides.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So welcome to Attracting Clients by Design. So let's talk for just a minute. Again, remember, we're looking at the chart theoretically, and that means, listen to this really closely. No one is designed to fail at business. That's not in the chart. No one is designed to be broke. No one is designed to be, well, I talked about being unsuccessful. You are actually designed to be successful. You're designed to be sustainable. And in fact, when we look at the story that lives in the chart, what we see is that the more true we are to ourselves, the more authentic we are. That authenticity, by the way, lives in the G center or the identity center and the will center. And I'll show you a little bit more about that as we go along. The more authentic you are, the more you set yourself up to be receptive to abundance, profitability, and success. Now, I want to share something else that's really, really important for you to understand. And this is something, actually, I'm going to, let's see if I can get out of here for a minute. You know, I figured out how to get in the slides and see if I can get out of the slides. I will do that last. Okay, so just listen to this carefully. Put your pens down because I really want you to hear this. Probably if you walk away with nothing but this today, this is the thing I want you to hear. There are a lot of ways of talking about business by design. And we have a tendency to talk about business by design as if your chart tells you how to do business. Like, what's in my chart that's going to tell me how I should market? What should I say in my marketing? How does a projector do this? How do generators build websites? We have these kinds of questions because there's a mistaken understanding sometimes in the way in which we look at the chart when we think the chart is telling us what we are. But your chart isn't a label, and it's not a what, it's a how. Your chart is telling you how you do something, not what you can and cannot do. And when we look at human design and we look at business, we have to remember that business is a very specific skill set. And it's really a little bit separate from human design. Your human design is going to factor in with how do you stay sustainable? How do you structure a business model that doesn't burn you out? That's really, really important. And your human design will give you a lot of information about that. But your human design and is very different than the business skill set you need to have to build a thriving human design practice. And really, when we talk about business, again, if you learn this and you internalize this, this is going to be the most important thing you'll ever learn about business. And I'm going to show you a little bit about where this lives in the chart. Business is not about you, other than the sustainability part and the self-worth part, because that helps you create the value. Business is about your client, and business is a place of service. So one of the things we have to learn to do when we cultivate the skill set of business is we have to learn how to create business and do the science of business, if you will, in such a way that we are serving our clients at a maximum capacity. And in exchange for that service, we are receiving value. So if we take the chart and we start looking at the chart and we break it down, and I gave this chart slide the title Quantum Economics. And I gave the chart this title because one of the things that I think is so powerful and so important for us to understand is that the way in which we are doing business is changing. And without going into too much detail about the 2027 solar plexus mutation, I'm going to just share with you that the metrics, the measurements that we use for value are changing. And that's part of what lives in that 2027 solar plexus mutation, the way the chart itself is changing. And so as people who are doing, I'll call it light work, people who are here to serve, really intentionally serve, part of what we're doing is when we go into business, we're exploding the myth of business and we're exploding the myth of what's really valuable. That doesn't mean the business skill set goes away. We still have to know the business skills, but oftentimes for us, I find that a lot of what we are doing is we are redefining what is really valuable and how do we value it. And that is going to show up in our business. And it's definitely a place where we put the conversation around value, self-worth, money, numbers, and even a conversation about what is capitalism upside down and on its head. I personally do not believe that capitalism is dying. I believe that the way in which we create wealth and value is changing, and the measurements that we use for what we decide is valuable is changing. And really, when we look at it through the lens of quantum economics, the biggest thing that's changing is how we measure value. In the past, we've used materialism, money, resources to measure value, and I don't think that's necessarily going to go away. But I think we're moving into an era of doing business where we are being valued for creating well-being in the world. And certainly those of you who are using human design or any other kind of modality that helps people, part of what you are doing is creating value by enhancing people's well-being in the world. And the more well-being we generate, the more value we can confer upon our own services. And that starts to really change a lot of the conversation we have about business. Now, if we break the chart down and we look at the different layers within the chart itself, what we see is that the chart itself shows us that we are, first of all, designed to be responsive. This is, again, irregardless of type, right? We are designed to be responsive, not in the generator way necessarily, but in a way that allows us to serve better, right? That we use who we are and we use our interaction with the material world to respond to what's next, to what's necessary. In the next layer up, going up to the G and the will, the heart of who we are, right? That's the heart chakra. we see that part of what we're here to do is give value and direction. First to ourselves, right? We have to value ourselves and know our own direction. And then we are here to give that to others. And we do that either through physically building a business, or in some cases, we do that energetically, right? We lift the frequency of energy around us. And when we know our own value and our own direction, then we influence people around us. We see in the next layer that transmission is also an important part of the chart. And that certainly when we look at the design of business, one of the roles in business is to transmit, to teach, to share, to communicate. And of course, the ideas that we have that begin this process in the first place are inspirational, and that we are designed to be inspired and to inspire others. And of course, the more in alignment we are with our authentic selves, the better we are able to be responsive, give value, direction, transmit, and inspire. Now, when you look at human design and the human design chart, the chart itself has circuitry within it. So, in the circuitry that is human design, there is a circuit called the ego circuit, which I like to call the economic circuit. This is where the design of business lives. Now, this is a circuit, by the way, that's what's called a tribal circuit, meaning tribal circuits. There are two tribal circuits, the ego circuit and the defense circuit. Both of these circuits have a deep, deep, bone deep, soul deep theme associated with them. And the theme of those circuits is caring, right? When we carry these energies in our chart, if you have any of these energies defined, you care. If you have these energies open, you also care, but you'll have a variety of different ways that you care. The economic circuit cares. So again, when we start to talk about the dark side, of capitalism, one of the things that is the shadow of capitalism is not caring, right? And I want to argue that maybe part of what we're here to do is to redefine business and capitalism so that business becomes a pathway of caring deeply and profoundly for others. So, the optimal expression of this circuit is the ability to respond to the right need at the right time to create sustainable value and shared resources. In the shadow of business, we see fear and lack, and letting the fear and lack create overwhelm and consequently a misuse of power and resources. I would argue that a lot of what's happening in the shadow side of capitalism is you've got a bunch of people who have very low self-worth, who are overcompensating, and that overcompensation causes them to misuse their power and misuse resources. And of course, the lesson or the challenge for all of us in business. And by the way, business is a tremendously personal, I would say, tremendously personal and very, very beautiful journey to learning about your own value, your own enoughness, and learning to trust in enoughness. So, keynotes for this circuit include right timing, resources, integrity. I'm going to break all these down for you in a minute. Service, education, sharing and caring, community and support, relationships and connection, agreements and bonds. And that's with the people who work for you. It's also with people you collaborate with, and of course, with your clients themselves. If we look at these themes even more deeply, we'll see that included in these themes is also divine inspiration, ambition, the drive to hold on to a dream or a vision, untangling ourselves from patterns of the past, beauty, transforming fear and pain into something of greater value, intuition, particularly clairolfactance, right? That intuitive smelling, sales and marketing, transmission of truth and integrity, lying and falsehoods in the shadow, the creation of material gain in exchange for service, money, teaching, history, allocation and management of resources, power, ego, sacrifice and service and martyrdom, sustainability, rest, endurance, and will. So this is on the left side of the ego circuit, which is the only, I think, the side we're going to be talking about today. So when we look at business and you start thinking about your business, I want you to just take a second and think about where might you be incorporating or creating or learning about these core themes in your business and where your business is right now? And are you playing with these themes in terms of the relationships that you're building with either your leads, your potential clients, or your clients right now? The root of business success, if again, going back to all of these themes, when we look at the root of business success, it is not about your education. That's not in that circuitry, right? What school did you go to, right? What level of education do you have? It doesn't really refer to how much capital you have access to, right? It's not really about business techniques, plans, and strategies. Those are in there, but really, the root of business and the root of success in your business isn't necessarily about business techniques, plans, and strategies. It's not about your ability to use sales formulas. It's not necessarily about marketing, although it's important. It's not about high-end clients, and it's definitely not about what you wear, how you look, or your branding. At the root of success in your business, right, is really all of these core themes that I just shared with you. So I'm going to break these down for you a little bit, again, through the lens of the circuit, so you can see a little bit about what does this mean. So when we start looking at the flow of the energy in business, and again, please don't look at your chart and say, oh my God, I don't have any of this circuit in my chart. I'm going to fail in business. It's not about whether you have this in your chart or you don't have this in your chart. We're just looking at the archetypes associated with business, because whether you have this defined or open in your chart, you have the capacity to create a successful business. But you can't create a successful business if you don't understand what business is really about. So the root center in the business circuitry tells us that a lot of business, a lot of what makes a business successful is right timing. And that right timing is something we can control, not control necessarily, but we certainly can influence. And part of what has to happen to influence the right timing is we have to set the stage for success in our business. We have to have a foundation laid, which means if you don't have a product, or you don't know what you're selling, or you don't have a place for people to pay you, or you don't have a website, or you don't have a way to start building a relationship with your clients, which is why, for example, having the software, the having software is so important, right? And having the ability to use reports in your software or to build a website in the software is so important, because that gives people a place to find you and engage with you, to begin this process of setting up right timing for a relationship, which is really all what business is. Business is just really about a relationship. The second thing that we see is that the spleen center is part of the business circuitry. And the spleen center says that when the timing is right, we can then use what we know and the energy that we have to use our talents and skills, because this is all about self-actualization. Use our talent and skills to help people transform pain, that's the shadow of the spleen, right? And fear, the shadow of the spleen, to help people begin the process of transforming pain and fear into moving the energy towards the will center into something of greater value. So a big part of what you all are doing in the service that you create with your business is you are helping people transform pain and fear into something that is beautiful, into something that is of greater value. You are restoring people literally back to the heart of who they are. And that work, by the way, you all, I believe, is the most sacred divine calling that you can follow over the course of the human story. You're helping people break free from the limiting patterns of the past and transform those patterns into a deeper alignment with their authentic self, with the heart of who they are. And then, of course, part of what you're doing is you're transmitting and sharing the information that you've given people so that they can begin to create actionable plans to create something different in their lives, to create a life that is much more rooted in heart, and most importantly, in a new definition, a new story of well-being. Oops. So let's break this down again even further. Just look at the gates in the circuitry. Well, the gate 54, the gate of divine inspiration in quantum human design, is a place where when we go into business and we set the stage for that business, it's because we've been sparked, right? We've gotten some kind of a divine inspiration. And certainly I would say, again, this is sacred work. Going into business is sacred work. And it's sacred work that starts with a connection to source, that starts with a desire to serve in some way, shape, or form. And I think oftentimes in human design, we discount that because we're so trained to look outside of ourselves to build something. But I'll tell you that the path of business really kind of starts first from the inside. It really starts from a drive, a desire, something that sparks you to want to serve others and to set the place, set the stage for the timing to be right to move that service into action. The gate 32 says, and this is something we don't talk about a lot in business, the gate 32 says that right timing piece takes endurance. I will say I've been in the same business for 25 years. I think the reason why I have had the privilege and to be as successful as I have been is because I put the time in. And I am not saying that you can't build a profitable business in a short amount of time. You absolutely can. And this is why, again, going into human design at this time and starting a business at this time is so wonderful. Like, for example, as I said, you have this software. When I first started my human design business, we were, first of all, hand calculating charts. Think about how long that took. I couldn't use free charts to start my relationship with people, because my relationship with my clients, because it just took too long. And then once we got chart software in the very beginning, it wasn't on the website, right? And so people would email their birth information, and then we would run charts, and then we would email them or snail mail them back to people. And so in the very beginning, actually when I first worked for Human Design America, we were mailing people charts, and it took sometimes a couple of days after you ordered your chart to get your chart in the mail. So now people can instantly get their chart. You can put the chart on your website, right? The timing, the length of time that it takes is accelerated dramatically. And I do want you to adopt a mindset of building a thriving, sustainable practice takes endurance. And what that also means, and think about this because it's built into the business circuitry, it means you also have to take care of yourself. You have to rest. You have to renew yourself. You have to regenerate. You have to go play. You can't hustle, 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 hustle all the time, because you will have to hustle sometimes. You're going to have things that are going to happen. You're going to have a big sale, or you're going to offer a new class, or something's going to come up. But you also have to be, and you have to know that you have to be in it for the long haul. There really is no, people don't like it when I say this, but I'm going to tell you, there just really is no hack. So being prepared and setting the stage influences the timing and the speed, and actually it saves you energy so that you have more energy to have endurance. If you're not prepared, or you don't know what to have prepared, then you're going to spend a lot of time scrambling, which is actually something I see a lot of beginning people doing, and people in business doing. They're scrambling because they don't know how to strategically organize themselves and build that foundation, which is, again, why the software and having the software is so important, because it gives you this opportunity to right off the bat create a place for people to find you, create an opportunity for you to begin to build a relationship with people so you can influence the timing of this relationship you're going to build with potential clients. The gate 44 says that, as I said, part of what we're doing in business is we are helping people transform their patterns that keep them stuck in fear and pain. This same gate in traditional human design is all about preparing to sell. Well, the preparation for the sale is about knowing where your client is hurting. Oftentimes, when we do business, we think that we have to talk about ourselves. We have to tell people, I got this amount of years of training. I trained with this person. I did this. I have this school. I went to this school. We tell our clients about ourselves when we think that's about selling. Or we think we have to convince people why what we have is of great value. And in reality, selling is not about any of those things. Selling is about figuring out, where is your client hurting? Where is your client experiencing limitation and pain? What's blocking them from their natural state of abundance? And learning how to, and this is that gate 44 theme, learning how to meet them where they're at. And that means sometimes you really have to listen carefully to what are they saying to you, so that you can explore, how does what you have meet their need? And remember that this is again also really important. The most important word you can use in selling is the word you. I always tell my students when we talk about writing sales copy, go through every piece of sales copy that you've written and scratch through any place where you've used the word I, when you've said I this, I that, scratch it out, write in the word you, and fix that sentence so that whatever you're talking about is not about you, it's about your client. Because you're here to sell, you're here to help them transform pain into something beautiful, right? You're here to unleash them from limitations so they can expand into their value. The closing of the sale is in the gate 26, and that story of this gate 26 is that we are designed to be in integrity. And that part of what we're doing is we're restoring people back to integrity. That's what we do with human design. And when I say integrity, I'm not talking about moral integrity, although that's part of it. What I'm saying is that we are restoring people back to their integrity of themselves, meaning we're literally, think of it in the context of structural integrity, right? When a bridge is in structural integrity, it's strong, it's capable. You are bringing people back into structural integrity with themselves. And when they live in integrity, then they're able to transcend trauma. They're able to transcend ancestral programming. They're able to transcend or decondition the collective narrative. They're able to step into a fuller, higher expression of their value. When they do, then they live in integrity. So in human design, in quantum human design, I talk about 5 kinds of integrity. We talk about physical integrity, resource integrity. So physical integrity is being healthy and vital physically. Resource integrity means you're using your resources well so that they stay sustainable, right? You're not burning out, you're not experiencing boom and bust cycles in your energy. Identity integrity means that you're creating in alignment with your authentic self. Moral integrity, again, I don't encounter this very often, and hopefully you don't either, but moral integrity happens when we know our own value, right? Then we don't feel like we have to resort to sketchy things to try to manipulate or game the system because we know we're worthy of enough, right? And energetic integrity means we don't commit energy we don't have. So you can't live in integrity if you struggle with your self-worth and your personal sense of value, or if you can't see the value of others. So again, what you're doing in the process of selling is you're bringing people into a place where you're inviting them into a higher state of integrity, a place, a way of living where they are expressing their physical integrity, their resource integrity, their identity integrity, their moral integrity, and their energetic integrity. And then you're teaching them how to regulate themselves. This is the gate 21, so that they can sustain that new connection to that level of integrity. And then once they really get solid in who they are, then they can share who they are more effectively, more powerfully with the world so that they get to turn on their gifts and their light and really serve the world in their authentic, natural way, that in that way that only they can do, right? So the highest expression of business, remember we said, is not your education and all that other stuff. It's the manifestation of divine inspiration into form, a deep connection to source via your intuition. It's for the greater good of everyone. It involves education, creation of resources, service, transmission of truth and transformation, the sustainable management of resources, high integrity. It's built through love and relationship. I'm going to say that again because it's so important. Selling is love and relationship building. That's really what selling is. It endures, it transforms, it's balanced. You get to rest and get paid too. It involves community and is rooted in service, not sacrifice and martyrdom, because that's not sustainable by definition. It needs to be sustainable, and money is really not the goal in the pure expression of business, but it is necessary, right? It's what you need to sustain your business. A lot of times I see people in business who will oftentimes feel bad about charging or try to, not charge too much because they want to give back. I will tell you, you'll be able to give back a whole lot more if you set yourself up to be profitable in your business. I'll share with you that last year we gave away almost $300,000 worth of scholarships in my business. We generated almost $100,000 to give away to organizations, nonprofit organizations such as Doctors Without Borders, because we had the profit base and the strength in the business to be able to do that. If you build a good, strong business, you'll be able to amplify your service and what you can give to others exponentially. and you'll do it in a way that allows you to be sustainable, in a way that lets you also thrive, and so that you're not martyred to your business. So there are 3 key factors directly related to business success: sustainability, your ability to not burn out; alignment, your ability to be radically authentic, because if you start compromising on that, you won't sell; and your ability to stand and know your value. So all of the stuff that we just talked about, you also have to do this for yourself as well. So when you have all 3 of those things in place, then you have right timing and sustainable success. So let's just look at that really quickly: sustainability, alignment, and value. Those are the 3 components to creating a successful business. So it's not branding, it's not what color is your branding color, it's not all that stuff. It's, are you sustainable? Are you in alignment? Right? And do you know your value? And are you giving really good value? So I want you to think about for just a minute, and we are going to post this replay on YouTube if you want to go back and review this, or if you want to take a screenshot of this. I want to just give you these questions to contemplate later as we go through this material. Does your business bring people into alignment? If it does, how? And of course, human design does that very easily. Does it create sustainability in others? And is it sustainable for yourself? And does your business create value and well-being? And if so, can you define it? Can you write it out? Can you explain what that is to others? Now, the topic of this seminar was 3 key strategies to attracting the right clients. So let's talk about some strategic ways to start calling in those people who you are here to serve, those people who are looking for the path that you offer them that helps them get out of pain or out of fear or limitation into the deep alignment with their integrity, their true self. So you have to know, first of all, who your right client is. You have to know what's hurting them, their pain, and you have to know your product. And most importantly, you have to know how is your product specifically going to impact or help them with their pain. So here's some things I want to talk about when we talk about identifying and finding your right client. So we talk about you have to know who your right client is. I want to remind you that, first of all, you get to work with who you want to work with. All right. So don't try to go down some really hard rabbit hole about percentages of what kinds of people would like human design. I want to get really simple with this exploration. Who do you love to work with? Who do you love to work with? You get to decide who you want to work with. And I promise you, there are an abundance of clients who you want to work with. You wouldn't be called into business if there weren't people waiting for you. You don't have to compromise on your value and what you want and who you want to work with just because of the money. In fact, I would say the more clear you are and the more aligned you are with who you want to work with, the more you'll be able to attract them. And to do that, of course, you need to know who is your ideal client. Who do you really enjoy working with? So some questions again to explore. What age are they? If there is an age, if that's relevant. What gender are they? If that's relevant. What are their values? That's huge. You know, I always say I have the privilege of working with people who want to make a positive and powerful impact in the world. That's a value that to me is a non-negotiable. I love working with people who want to make a difference in the world. What is your client willing to do? You might want to be attracting clients who are willing to make a big commitment to doing the work, right? You want them to show up, and how willing are they to show up? That might be something that's really important to you. Write it out. And literally, you know, I have a very intimate relationship with my business. We talk to each other all the time. And in fact, on my altar, which I can't show you right now, but it's over there, on my altar, I actually have a big crystal that symbolizes the energy of my business. And we sit down every Sunday and I ask my business, you know, who are we calling in? Who do you want to serve? What do you need from me? How can I serve you at my highest level? I encourage you to really have an intimate relationship with your business. Call it in as an entity. In fact, go run your chart for the day that your business started and look at that chart, because that's the energy of the mission of your business. And ask your business, who do you want to work with? Who are you here to serve? What values do those people have? Really get clear. And you want to really also explore when you're talking about fun, and having fun in your business, you want to explore what is your client's greatest pain. And in particular, does what you have to offer hit any of these 5 areas? These are pretty much the 5 greatest areas of pain that people experience. So really ask yourself, what is your favorite client's kind of pain? What do you have that you enjoy really helping people with? Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it career or creative fulfillment? Is it spiritual? Do you teach them something spiritual? Do they have spiritual pain? Do they feel disconnected from source or lost? Do they have physical pain? Really think about, what do you have to offer in the way in which you talk about human design or whatever you're talking about. What do you have to offer that helps them in these core areas? Because the more specific you get in addressing the pain and the limitations of your clients, the easier it is for you to actually attract clients. Now, I'm going to give you what is probably one of my favorite hacks. I just told you there are no hacks, but this is a hack. Okay. One of my favorite hacks. And that is, if you don't know what your clients want or need, if you're feeling a little bit out of touch with your clients, if you haven't listened to your clients in a while, I want to really encourage you to reach out and find out, where are your clients struggling? You can go to surveymonkey.com. I think you can also do this actually on Facebook, and now anymore nowadays, I think you can even do this on Zoom. But you can set this up very easily on surveymonkey.com or any other free survey platform that's out there. I think SurveyMonkey used to be free. I'm not sure they're free anymore. But go find a survey system, or if you have people on your mailing list, just send them a question and ask them a question. What is your greatest challenge in your life right now? Just leave it open ended like this. Ask a big open ended question like this and ask them, what are you struggling with right now? You will be amazed, if you ask people this big open ended question, how willing people are to share really important information with you about what's hurting them right now. Whether you're doing human design, whether you're a healer, whatever you're doing, you can then start to think about, how are the services that I offer helping people, my people, with this greatest challenge in their lives right now? You don't have to fix everything that everybody posts for you, but this starts to give you a really good understanding of, where are my clients hurting? Where are the people that I've already built a relationship struggling? And how can I adjust my message and my services and what I have to offer to be able to communicate with them around this pain? How can what I use what I have to offer to help my clients really get over this challenge, really make it through this challenge in a way that restores them to their integrity and their value? The reason why this is so brilliant, and it helps you get to discover exactly what your clients need. You get to use the language your clients need to hear to make their commitment to transformation. It really gives you preset content to build. I'll tell you, when I work on writing sales copy, or even if I'm thinking about, like, what am I going to talk about on social media this week, I go back to my surveys and I look at, oh, these are the questions people have. I need to talk about this, or I need to post a little comment about how to raise a manifester, right? And that, going back to those questions, gives me language to use, or to the answers in the survey. It gives me language to use. It gives me a really good idea of where people are hurting. And it really helps me communicate effectively, which is a big part of the sales process, right? I can meet my client where they're at because I know what's hurting them. So I really want to encourage you to explore, how can you start listening to your clients so you can start hearing what is their biggest challenge, and you can start really crafting a platform for them, a bridge for them to get from pain and limitation and fear to restoration of integrity. You are not going to find your ideal clients, or even any clients in some cases, if you don't know who they are. And that's not about knowing in your head. That's about being able to talk to them, being able to reach them where they're hurting, being able to give them a bridge that is a promise of hope and transformation, because that's what you have to offer. And by the way, that bridge that you build from pain, that vision that you build for them, from pain and limitation and fear to greater value, to a restoration of integrity, that's selling. Giving people a promise of hope, a promise of a new possibility. that vision that you build for them when you teach them and you give them information and you reach out to them and you show them how human design can help them, that's the beginning of the sales process. And really, I find that when you really get that and you get out of the mindset that sales is manipulative, or you have to find this special language, or you have to feel like a used car salesman, when you can get out of that and start thinking about, oh, selling is just communicating, giving your clients your potential clients and your leads a pathway of transformation, a pathway that is hopeful. You begin selling by serving. And you have to start first by building trust and a relationship. It's kind of like getting married. I'll say this. I will say that I definitely have been proposed to once on a first date. And that was a bad idea, by the way. But you, generally speaking, you are not going to propose to someone or get married on the first date unless you're on a TV show. I think there's a TV show like that now here in America. Um, you are going to marry somebody or build a relationship with somebody who you trust, who you've had time to get to know. And really, the beginning of the sales process is all about starting that relationship, which is again why having the free chart app on your website, why having reports, why beginning to really give people that information that starts to help them see that you have what they need, is an important part of selling. And the more you can sort of send your beacon up and start telling people, this is the thing that I know a lot about. This is the pain that I'm good at addressing. This is the problem I know that you're probably struggling with, and I have answers for you. The more you start doing that from a place of service rather than thinking, oh, I got to sell. And the more you do this by building trust and building a relationship with people, the more people will naturally want to buy from you. And you may never, ever have to have a really hardcore sales conversation. People will come to you and start asking you, can I work with you? Can I coach with you? What do you teach any classes? Do you have a book? They will start through this relationship asking you for the next level. Your business is, again, the embodiment of your spirit, and the economics of your business and your work is sacred. This is not gross work. Selling is not gross work. I think we think selling is gross sometimes. It's not. And if you're struggling with parts of the selling process, most of my clients, most of my students don't struggle with the selling piece once they get it. Once you guys really get, oh, this is about really serving people, that part is easy. Sometimes the second thing where we sometimes have to work a little bit is really knowing our value, really, really holding our value so that we are standing in the marketplace in the economics of our business and making sure that we're creating enough and we're standing in the value of what we have to offer so that we're not undercharging or overworking and failing to take care of ourselves and not taking care of our own sustainability. And I'll tell you, the more authentic and more aligned you are, the more you stand in that value, the easier and easier it gets to sell, because what you're really selling, in addition to information, is you're selling people through the energy that you embody, a possibility of integrity. You're selling them your own authenticity, and by being authentic, you're showing them that they can be authentic too. And that authenticity is probably the sexiest thing you can do to attract people to you. People are very drawn to people who are authentic and aligned. And the more authentic and aligned you are, and the more you can relax into that and trust that, the more you can serve this sacred work, the more you can serve at your highest level. All right. Let's see. All right. Am I back, or are you still seeing my slides, Geetus?
No, we see you now, Karen. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. So I have about 10 minutes for your questions. I see that there's some questions in the chat. I just want to gently remind you, if you have questions, please post them over in the Q&A section so I can also answer. Oh, never mind. There's a bunch in there too. Okay. So the first question is, how is having open centers and channels impacting creating, having a successful business? Here's how they might impact you. If you haven't deconditioned and you're reacting to the energy you're experiencing in your open center, instead of living out the optimized expression of your openness, work on that. I mean, I would certainly say for anybody, open or defined, we want to optimize our unique configuration of our chart. So the more you live true to yourself, the more you can create success in your business. And when you're open, openness is a gift. It's really a gift, especially when we start to look at, say, the open G or the open solar plexus or the open sacral. That's not limited to that, but openness allows us to really know our clients. And again, the more you really know your client, the more you can go into that place where you know what to say to them. You know how to write reports that are going to meet those needs that they have. You're going to know how to build a platform around what you know they're struggling with. When you run the chart of a business, how do we pick the date? So it depends. This is always, there's no hard science around this. I mean, certainly if this is for true in America, if you file for like an LLC or you file corporate papers, usually there's a date and a time stamped on the corporate papers. If you don't know the date of your business, you can take, uh, uh, like just take a guess, take your best guess. Like when did the business start? If you're going to start your business, if you haven't started it yet, then look at the date of filing for your LLC. So, all right. I would say if you've already been doing sessions a while ago, just do your best guesstimate. Jack said, oh, okay. What time is my business create? How does that factor? It's not going to be accurate, probably. It's just, this is a guesstimate. I did this because I happened to have the time and the date stamp of when I filed for my LLC. Um, if you don't know the time of your business, that doesn't mean you can't have an intimate relationship with your business. Don't let that stop you short. You can sit in meditation, call in the energy of your business, call in the entity that is your business. And if you want to, you can ask it, what is my design? My business is my new business. I had two businesses. First was Joyful Mission. Now I have Quantum Human Design. And the new business is a manifesting generator. My first business was a projector. So, but don't let the not knowing the date of your business stop you. Just, this is really more about you connecting with the heart of your business and being in communication and building an intimate relationship between you and your business, because you're here to serve it, right? And it's here to serve you. So, next question is, okay, I'm going to go past. Can a human design consult help me zero in on who my client is? Yes. And I would say yes and no. I would definitely say a good human design specialist is going to be able to look at your chart and know, like, what are you here to communicate about? What are some of the gifts and strengths in your chart? And also, the real question here is, who do you love to serve? It's really almost not a chart question. What I would say is, what excites you? What kind of problems excite you? What kind of people excite you? Really go with that as your ideal client. I think we lock ourselves too hard into our human designs. And really, your human design is going to tell you how you interact with your client, but it's not always going to tell you what you're passionate about. So really ask yourself, who do you love to serve? What excites you? Think about any clients you may have had in the past that you really love to work with. What did they embody? So, what percentage of people have sacral authority? It's about 70%. That includes both generators and manifesting generators. So the gates, there are no gates. So the next question is, what are the gates associated with sustainability, alignment, and value? I would say that's not about gates. That's about you living true to yourself. When you live true to yourself, then, and you're living the highest expression of the chart, you will be sustainable, you will be in alignment, and hopefully you will also know your value. So how does it affect us in building our business if we don't have the gate 40? So if you don't have the gate 44 or the 26 in your chart, everybody has the gate 44 in your chart. Everybody has the gate 26 in your chart. You either have it open or you have it defined, but you have it. So we all have it. And what that means is that all businesses, because this is universal to all business has the design with the 44 and the 26 in it, meaning the highest expression of business is to help people break free from the limiting patterns of the past and give them something of beauty and value that supports them in transforming themselves into a deeper alignment with integrity. I do not know about the slides being available after the session. I'm certainly open to giving them to you, Gitas, if you want to post them with the video?
That would be great. So I will be shared in the newsletter somehow. I'm gonna find
Okay,
a way how to share
perfect.
newsletter.
Perfect. So
Thank you.
make sure you
Thank
have
you so
all
much,
signed
Karen.
up for the newsletter. Yes. And then
Thank you so much,
is
Karen.
it you're welcome. Is it still pain if the spleen is not in color? So the spleen, if it's open, can also experience pain. Again, we're not talking about individual charts. We're talking about theoretical the theory, the archetype, the story of business through the lens of the chart. So, um, new posts. I'm learning something new here today. More buttons to push. See if I'm missing anything. Um,
So I think on the top one, the 4 new ones, and that's
yeah,
it.
I'm looking at this. Okay. I'm sporting 6 hanging gates on an open spleen. Is there a way to use those hanging gates to benefit me as a coach to support my clients? Oh, absolutely, Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Yes. So you're probably pretty wise about those gates, right? Those are probably been gates that have come from your own story, your own exploration around fear, right? Those are fear gates in the spleen. So I would say, what have you learned about those gates? And how can you then transform your own lessons about those energies into what you give and share, the message you build, that bridge you build for your potential clients? Reflectors can totally build businesses. I would just say if you are a reflector and you are building a business, make sure that it's sustainable. Okay. Make sure that you build it in such a way that there's rest time, and maybe build it in such a way that you give yourself enough runway around creating things so that you build into the way you do your business enough time for you to be able to make decisions in the way that's right for you. So I would certainly say your openness can be a tremendous gift. And you can have, as you probably know, as a reflector, you can have tremendous energy, right? That's 9 centers being amplified, but you need time and you need spaces for rest and renewal. So you really want to look at a business model for you as a reflector that has some time built into it, and a business model that lets you have enough time. Like, I would not say start, in 6 weeks from now, start a program. I would say you really need to sit and think and be clear about what do you want to offer and give yourself that time. What advice do you have for someone with an open ajna with no gates and accessing the right inspirations for building a business? I'm a 3-5 emotional generator. Okay, so here's the thing, respond. For you, don't worry about your ajna. Follow your sacral response. What's turning you on? What's getting your attention? What are you noticing? What's making you go aha in the way in which you engage with the world? So, all right. I'm figuring this out here, Gitas. I'm learning how to push all these buttons. Um, I have an open G and I feel like I don't really have direction. How do I handle this so I don't come across as all over the place? The open G is really interesting to work with in business because, first of all, your capacity to really know people is huge. And your challenge is learning how to really find home within yourself. And so, a couple of things I would think about. First of all, make sure your environment is set up in such a way that it feels like home to you, because your environment is going to help you stay focused. Certainly, I would say if you, I find that a lot of people with OGs, I find that a lot of us anyway, you probably have a lot of different trainings and certifications. If we had a toolbox with all your transformational skills in it, you would probably have a toolbox that has a lot of things in it, right? A lot of trainings, a lot of skills. So rather than trying to sell or market the different skills that you have, I know human design, I do Reiki, all of that. Instead, ask yourself, in the heart of who you are, if you were going to guide somebody through a challenge, what's the heart of what they need to know? Like, not what system do they need, what training do they need, like, what do they message? So maybe your core message is dig into the and there is no type that can't build a business, and you really don't have to tailor how you build your business to your type. You do have to tailor your business model to your type, and that means and not just your type, at building relationships with people. You are also really, really good at knowing what people need. And you can capitalize on that in your messaging hugely. So Kiedis, thank you so much, you all, for being here with me today. Thank you so much for hosting me today, for letting me. I hope you all learned something. Go do surveys, go survey your people. Thank you for, thank you all again for just being here, and um, do yourself a
Thank you
favor.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. Set yourself up for success by really getting started and learning how to build that relationship. So, all right, be well. Thank you, Gitas. Bye.